Ladies and gentlemen, you're naturally welcome to Gabon 24 and the special guest, and I do receive Her Excellency Madame Harriet Matthews with her His Excellency Mr. Christian DENNYS-McCLURE, respectively Geopolitics Director at Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office, in short FCDO, and British non-resident High Commissioners to Gabon. Welcome, Your Excellencies.
Thank you.
Especially for you, Madame Harriet Matthews. This is the very first time for you to be welcome on the set of Gabon 24, and this is your very first trip to Gabon. What does justify your presence here in Gabon?
Well, thank you. It's great to be here, and I've wanted to come personally for a really long time. But what brings me here is with Gabon's entry into the Commonwealth, we have a really great opportunity for the UK and Gabon to thicken and deepen its bilateral relationship. So I've had a series of excellent meetings with His Excellency the President and other ministers, and we've been looking at a range of things, from trade to the environment. I've just met the troops who went on parade at the King's coronation. So there's a whole set of things that we're looking at exploring, including, for example, on foreign policy, where we're both currently members of the UN Security Council.
Okay, very well. And you, Dr. Christian McClure, you are a fan of this set. I mean, you are an habitué of Gabon 24. And this is a very important mission that you're carrying in the Gabonese, on the Gabonese soil. What is the essence of this specific mission? Because you have met many Gabonese personalities.
Thank you, and it's a pleasure to be back. Over the last 2 years, our relationship has blossomed, and particularly in the last 6 months, I've led a number of missions to Gabon, which has included the first trade mission in 10 years. We were here with Lord Zach Goldsmith for the One Planet Summit in April, and we are here now, including our Defence Attaché as well as Harriet Matthews from London, from the Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office, in order to solidify many of the areas of work that we have been doing to develop our bilateral relationships. The core of our relationship really centres around the Commonwealth, climate and commerce, but we're also taking the opportunity during this trip to make sure we have explored other areas of potential collaboration for the future.
Before we go deeper into the cooperation ties between the United Kingdom and Gabon particularly, and generally between Gabon and the Commonwealth, let's come back on the, let's say, the different missions of inspection that Gabon went through before entering the Commonwealth. Are you just a bit satisfied by what Gabon presented, what Gabon put on the table in terms of human rights, in terms of democracy, in terms of defending the environment?
Thank you. So before Gabon joined the Commonwealth, there were a number of missions organised by the Commonwealth Secretariat. Some of them were led by the Secretary General of the Commonwealth. The Secretariat is separate from the UK government. The UK is a member of the Commonwealth alongside Gabon. And the Secretariat undertook these missions in the areas you described: governance, human rights, ease of doing business, climate and environment. And it outlined some of the amazing areas of progress that Gabon has made, particularly around climate and environment, and lots of other areas where, particularly if you look in the sub-region, Gabon is doing quite well. It also highlighted, as with every country, including our own, that there are areas for improvement. But the important thing was that it was not a British decision for Gabon to join the Commonwealth. It was a decision consensually amongst the then 54 heads of state who met in a room in Rwanda at the last head of government's meeting to make that decision themselves. It was not an approval from us. It was an approval from 54 countries to welcome Gabon into the family of the
A lot of people keep wondering about, for instance, the membership of Gabon into the Commonwealth. They do not understand exactly what is going to be the benefit from Gabonese people. Can you try to explain us what the cooperation ties are going to bring both to Gabonese people and British ones to be really both committed in bilateral ties?
Absolutely. So I think there are two elements of this. First of all, there's a government-to-government cooperation. And with Gabon being a member of the Commonwealth, for us, that means that we get closer inevitably. We're part of a community, we're able to talk. And for example, Gabon has a role in a multilateral organization where it can showcase what it's doing, for example, on gender, where it's #1 in sub-Saharan Africa, but also exchange ideas in other areas as well. But I think what makes the Commonwealth unique is it's not just a membership of governments, it's a community of people. So in the Commonwealth, for example, you have organizations where you have groups of judges or midwives or teachers who volunteer their time and who work with other countries and create the links. So for Gabon, there are advantages in inter-Commonwealth trade, where you have a Commonwealth advantage because it's easier to do business. There are advantages in how it can talk to now 55 other countries, but it can also reach out into these other wider communities, which can hopefully build businesses and create much broader and better links right across society.
And you also mentioned, in terms of meeting different personalities, you mentioned Professor Lee White, and you also mentioned that you met with the minister in charge of commerce. What are the specific aspects? What can be the measures taken at a very moment inflation is really at the moment economies around the world, particularly in the Commonwealth, are really trying to find a way to defeat inflation. What can be the measures put on the table between Gabon and the United Kingdom in terms of commerce to try to come together and fight inflation?
Thank you. So as you say, inflation is affecting many countries around the world, including the United Kingdom, where food prices have gone up somewhere around about 18% over the last year. One of the key ways in which we work together to combat inflation is through economic growth and economic partnerships. Trade between the United Kingdom and Gabon has nearly doubled in the last 2 years. It is just under £400 million per annum. That is significantly supported by the fact that Gabon has now entered the Commonwealth. Gabon has joined the Commonwealth Enterprise and Investment Council, which provides opportunities and facilitation for Commonwealth members to exchange goods and services more easily. It's also been possible through bringing the trade mission here in March this year to pursue future investments by UK companies and UK Export Finance, as I've said before here on this program, financed the road, the Voirie de Libreville, which benefited 25% of Libreville of the population of the city in improving transport access. We are looking to pursue and deliver future UK-supported investment in Gabon, in infrastructure, in education, and in industrial agriculture.
And what about education?
Well, education is a critical one, and one of the things that we've been talking about here is a real demand and a desire for greater exchanges, cooperation, English language training. So it's one of the things that I've been listening to and will definitely take back with me when I go back to London.
We won't stop asking this question. We won't stop putting this question on the table because a lot of people just think that joining the Commonwealth for Gabon means that everybody is just compulsory to speak English. But can you just try to bring a lot of light, more light on the specific aspect, saying, for instance, that Gabon and the Commonwealth share together common values it's not necessarily speaking English.
Absolutely. English is a key part of communication within the Commonwealth, but there are 5 Francophone speaking countries within the Commonwealth itself. I think we should focus primarily on those areas of shared values and priority around democracy, the rule of law and justice, sovereignty, youth, women and climate. And they are key values that the UK shares with Gabon in facilitating access for Gabonese students to English language services. That is a slightly different track of effort, which is one we are pursuing. And we had the British Council here earlier this year as part of the trade mission, in fact, looking at how we can establish what's called an IELTS exam centre so that Gabonese students can take English language proficiency exams to be able to then apply successfully for universities of the United Kingdom. And in April this year, we opened a visa service here in Libreville, so Gabonese citizens can apply for visas to visit the UK for study, for work, etc. And they can do it from here for the first time in a generation.
And you have a very busy agenda. You've met many Gabonese personalities, including the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Commerce, and so on and so forth. But you also have to meet with the Ministry of, let's say, of Justice. Why is it important for you to meet with this governmental department?
Well, I think it's partly because justice sits at the core of what we were talking about in terms of Commonwealth values. And so it's important to understand. And we have very different legal backgrounds. You know, we have one of common law, you have one based on Napoleonic law. And so there's a whole area where we need to understand each other better and work together. And I mentioned that the Commonwealth has associations that look at justice and where judges can share information and lawyers can share information. So I'm interested in seeing, is there an opportunity for us to build more in this area as well?
And at the very moment you're visiting Gabon, many still wonder about the fact that Gabon joining the Commonwealth means that there is going to be a strengthening of cooperation, bilateral ties, but how to understand the fact that still now there is not a permanent High Commissioner in Gabon?
Well, I think I have a scoop for you, because one of the things that I was just saying to His Excellency the President is that as a result of Gabon joining the Commonwealth, we are going to establish a dedicated diplomatic presence to Gabon. Wow. So one of the things we're doing now is working on that to make that a reality as quickly as possible.
Which means that, I don't know if I get you well, which means that in months or years to come, there is going to be a permanent High Commissioner in Gabon, maybe as it is the way for Cameroon.
Well, I very much hope it's not years, let's put it that way. But yes, we've been doing this step by step, and you've seen that High Commissioner Christian has been coming over more and more and really advocating for this relationship, and I think this is the next step. So I hope we can do it as quickly as possible.
Yes, and there is another aspect that we're going to mention, the fact that in the member states or member countries of the Commonwealth, we do not talk about ambassadors, but we talk about high commissioners. What is the difference?
The difference really is that it signifies co-membership of the Commonwealth. It means that Gabon's High Commissioner, former ambassador, High Commissioner to London is a High Commissioner. It means that here in Libreville, you have a ready-made network of High Commissioners who are already members of the Commonwealth, including the High Commissioners from Nigeria, from Togo, from Cameroon. and South Africa. And that articulation of us being able to share not just the name of being a High Commissioner, but it is underpinned by our shared values within the Commonwealth and is a way of self-identifying to each other ways in which we can explore future collaboration.
And this means that those who are not members of the Commonwealth are going to share ambassadors.
Exactly.
And you also mentioned the fact that during the coronation of King Charles III, Gabonese troops took part into the parade. What does it mean? Because it's very symbolic.
It really was a very special and historic moment. A bit like for our Remembrance Sunday services last year, for the first time, the Gabonese High Commissioner participated. And this time in the parade for the coronation, Gabonese troops were there on parade. It was covered in the UK media, so you had the spotlight on this impeccable commitment and the symbolism of Gabon being in the Commonwealth. And I think it just shows that you can use the Commonwealth to really build these ties and bring people closer, as I said, not just on the government level, but on a people-to-people connection. So it was a very special moment, and I've just gone to say thank you to those who participated.
And there is also another aspect that is very important while we talk about sharing values between two peoples. It is the field of culture. Do you also work in partnership with Gabon so that both people can also share their common culture?
Absolutely. And when I said that the Commonwealth was more than government, that's exactly what we're about people-to-people links. And so every year you have not only the heads of government meeting, but you have meetings of youth. You have a women's forum, and you also have one which is specifically about culture and how to maintain those links. So it's a complicated and wonderful and vibrant organisation that is so special because of those sorts of links, not just because of governments meeting in a room and talking.
We also mentioned last time that the fact that Gabon joined the Commonwealth, Gabonese athletes are going to be able to compete during the Commonwealth Games.
Absolutely. We look forward to celebrating not just Gabonese participation in the Games themselves, but there is something called the Commonwealth Torch Relay. And so Gabon will participate in the passing of the baton, which lights the flame for the Commonwealth Games. But that is for the future.
We're nearly at the end of this special guest. Madam Harriet Matthews, you are the geopolitics director of the FCDO. What is your main job? What is your main task for this intergovernmental organization?
So my main job is building strong partnerships with countries that matter and making sure the organizations we're in function really well. And so that's what it's about coming here. You know, Gabon has been a friend for a long time, and my job has been to see the opportunity to really move that friendship into an even closer and warmer and more productive space within that context.
And into your last words about the special mission, a mission of cooperation in Gabon with His Excellency, Mr. Christian DENNYS-McCLURE, what is the essence at the very moment that we're going to conclude the special guest?
So for me, the thing I will take away is opportunity for both of us. We've come with a big mission for people right across the embassy and from London. And the spirit of this has been one of openness and cooperation. So,
openness and cooperation. Thank you, Madame Harriet Matthew. You are Geopolitics Director of the FCDO.
thank
With
you.
His Excellency Dr. Christian Dennis-McCLURE. We used to have you on this set. Thank you for coming one more time to the Gabon 24 set.
Thank you very much.
To you, ladies and gentlemen, we are at the end of this special guest. We thank you for watching us from your homes. See you next time.